We're in a trust recession right now.
Like the average guy, according to the statistics I've seen, has 0 close friends. When used correctly, social media is a tool for building relationships, building your dating life, building your career.
Take yourself out. It's not about you.
Yeah.
Look at the people who want to hire someone. What are they looking for? They're looking for someone who is professional.
Social media is kind of like this thing where if you use it as a consumer, it will destroy you. But if you use it as a producer, it opens so many doors for you. I mean, my entire business is pretty much built off of social media at this point.
And you're making a living off of something that's just like dumping your soul into the garbage can. It's like, what is that worth? Like, you're doing yourself a disservice.
You're out of shape and live with your parents. It's like, they're not gonna love you for you, bro. Put yourself out there and good shit can happen. But if you're just gonna sit on the couch doom scrolling and wishing the world would just come to your door, it's not. You have to go out there and produce. You recently got baptized.
Jesus Christ is the authority. During the sermon, just this, and the worship just crashing over me, crashing like grief, dude. But at the same time, it was this like weird clarity. And I realized in that moment that I needed Jesus.
What's going on, everybody? My guest today is Conor Mangan. He's a content creator in self-improvement and specializes in helping people transition out of dead-end jobs into high-paying sales roles. Conor's an expert in personal branding and recently a baptized Christian. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you, brother. Great to see you. So I figure honestly the best place to start that dives into so much is how we met. You know, like just coming from Instagram and all that. Why don't you kind of like tell everybody that story from your perspective?
Certainly. So just like everyone else, I am a consumer. I'm on social media. I am in my early 20s, approaching mid 20s, I guess now. So I basically grew up with the phones, man. Like I've always had this. I've had Instagram since like I had an iPod, from middle school. So I mean, I'm a consumer just like everyone else. And one day, as I'm consuming on Instagram, right, just scrolling, whatever, I saw a video and it had some good numbers already. It was catching some steam and it was like a local real estate video. So I stayed. I mean, it was a good hook. It was something about a casino opening up in the nearby area and how that would maybe drive people to move to the area of Charlotte. And I clicked through the profile and I was like, oh, this guy seems like pretty professional. Spoiler alert, this is Keefe, who was making that video. And I just saw so much like content on Mooresville, Charlotte, just the market, real estate, all these different personal branding elements mixed in there. And I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. So I gave him a follow. Lo and behold, I get a follow back and a DM. And I saw the message. I was like, oh, no way. This guy's got like a couple thousand followers. Like, this is cool. Almost a small element of starstruck, I will be honest. And I saw the message. It was something along the lines of like, hey, are you like looking for a house or anything?
Right.
Are you like in the market? And I said, nah, man, honestly, like I'm young, dude. Like I'm just enjoying the content. But he followed me and we kind of like kept in touch here and there, just slowly but surely, liking each other's stuff, maybe throwing a comment in there. It turns out Keefe also was on YouTube. And I went and subscribed to his page, and I just kind of got to know Keefe in a way without actually meeting him in person, but like online. So back when I was saying like I've grown up with this stuff, like although, you can only form so much of a connection through a screen, I felt like I was already getting to know you. And I was like, wow, this guy actually like has some beliefs, some core values that I actually really share. I fuck with this guy. And so over time, I mean, I started leaning into content and I threw up one TikTok video that really resonated with you. Because it was, it had this caption.
First Man.
Yeah, right. Shout out First Man. Chris, great stuff. But Yeah, it was like your 20s are preseason or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you recognize that, I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy actually like follows this certain creator. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like almost like this clash of belief systems because this one creator, if the audience doesn't know here, he has a really good channel where he lays out the foundation of pretty much how to improve yourself from when you're 18 to get to like let's say what 35.
Something like that. The
Yeah,
male
kind of.
advantage, yeah. But it's so
Yeah.
super niche that if somebody is watching it, you're like, it's not like Mr. Beast or something. It's like, oh, like this guy gets it if he's watching it, you
Super
know? Mm-hmm.
precisely super niche. So
Mm-hmm.
we both kind of had that thing to ourselves that we shared, and then it was like things just picked up. So you recognized that I was looking into getting content out there, doing better, and I mean you offered a helping hand genuinely because you'd motivated me to start my YouTube channel and start to get things going. And yeah, we finally met up and we got some pictures, and here we are doing a podcast. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to start with that, not just for you to gas me up. I appreciate
Yeah,
that,
of
but
course.
really, like, just because there's just so much I feel like that people can learn from how this interaction occurred. You know, like the average guy, according to the statistics I've seen, has zero close friends.
Hmm.
And that's just I think a byproduct of our kind of social media age, and a lot of people will blame social media for the kind of decline in relationships. But when used correctly, social media is a tool for building relationships, building your dating life, building your career, and that hits on what a lot of you do, a lot of the stuff that you do with people
Hmm.
when it comes to improving your LinkedIn profile so that you can get a new position in corporate America or whatever you're looking for and stuff. And I just thought there was so much there because like I was getting when that post went off, I mean, it got like 300,000 something views. I got
Wow.
like hundreds of followers off, but I only followed like a couple people back from it. And you were one of them because you also got it. And so when you go to your profile, for anybody who hasn't seen, you've got pictures on there that display, it's not showing off. It's just simply showing that you have a life basically. And most people don't get the power of social media as a tool, and this podcast is an example of literally what can happen if you use social media correctly.
Hmm.
And it's like, I had this thing I was thinking when I knew we were going to talk about this. It made me think that social media is kind of like this thing where if you use it as a consumer, it will destroy you. But if you use it as a producer, it opens so many doors
Mm,
for you.
mm.
What kind of experiences have you had with that outside
Yeah,
of just this relationship that we formed?
sure. Yeah, it's that two sides, that duality, that yin and yang,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not even, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
distribution of producers versus consumers is widely, like you'd probably see 90 plus percent of the
99% of people are
people,
doom
yeah,
scrolling on there. Mm-hmm.
yeah, doom scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a completely different approach and a
Mm-hmm.
different like, you're tapping into your neocortex. You're like, okay, let me understand social media at a higher level. A lot of people have this kind of like this fear inside. They're like, oh my gosh, it's this doom, like social media is taking over, it's destroying
Mm-hmm.
our relationships, like you were just saying. However, if you take a different approach and you take that creator frame and produce, the opportunities are just, almost endless, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea of it, I guess I'll try to lay it out as best as I can. Um, it's marketing. It's bringing traffic to your page so that people that you curate your content for, and you almost, when you make that content, you have a desired outcome, right?
Right.
Maybe you don't have the exact desired outcome, like, oh, I want to post this picture with my shirt off so this
Yeah.
girl sees it and she really likes me, like this one girl, and then like we can go on a date. No, it's not that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole like vision of your brand,
Mm-hmm.
and then with that brand you attract, right? So you attract different people, and it's all these different social connections that you can make with your marketing of yourself to where you can have specific outcomes like sales for your business, like a friend who helps you progress, like yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
how we connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned you saw something in my profile that like, oh, he just like
He gets it
he
pretty
gets it,
much.
right?
Yeah.
He's
Uh-huh.
living
Seems like a
life.
cool guy,
Sure,
basically.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll maybe go into that a little bit. I myself did a personal branding course because I recognized the value
Mm-hmm.
in this, and a large segment of that was photography.
Mm-hmm.
So, shots of me in, let's say, for lack of better word, a high status location, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, showing maybe competency in a certain skill, or showing that I am able to get into a certain location that has maybe some really cool aesthetics. So, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe a rooftop bar and there's a really nice view, there's a sunset. Oh, like, wow, I actually really appreciate that moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of feeling that, like, I, with my photography, want to instill and provoke from my audience. So it's almost like that empathetic approach
Mm-hmm.
where I want to shine a light on the beauty in places that I myself am maybe able to be in, that is. So, all that being said, clearly it worked to a degree because
Mm-hmm.
I attracted someone like yourself who is able to help me out, and then we can help each other, of
Mm-hmm.
course, and now we're homies, right?
Yeah.
So it's really neat to be able to be in a position where you are producing, and it's almost that like motivation that comes after the discipline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in the beginning, a lot of my friends were like maybe hitting me up and saying like, "Yo,
What are you
Connor, like,
doing?
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
what are you doing? Like this looks stupid, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Or like, "Bro, like who do you think you are?" Kind of like
That bullshit. Yeah.
that
Crabs
crabs
in
in
the
the
barrel.
bucket type of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of
Meanwhile, they all
want to
wish
pull
they
me
had the
down.
confidence to do it.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that is
Yeah, I
it.
think there's a level of that. I think because
I think
most
there could
people
be.
like, the number of guys I've been around who like don't take pictures or something, but the moment the camera comes out and there's an opportunity for them to not feel awkward doing it, suddenly they're like, oh yeah, let's get a picture, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of that where people just lack the confidence because it is tough, because like when we get, I mean, because we've taken the pictures together and stuff like that. I mean, I feel awkward sometimes when I'm getting a picture because you just feel like people are watching you, even if they're not. Maybe they are, but it really doesn't matter. But I think that eats away at people and they kind of project that on people who have the confidence to actually go do it.
Well said. Yeah, yeah, man. No, that's actually very well said. It is hilarious, man. I was actually in France just recently, and I
Mm-hmm.
had my camera, right? Like I'm big into photography now. That's just how it is. And my cousin, he's never been in that spotlight, and it's like, it's almost like you're like performing in a way,
Mm-hmm.
because every single like image that I have on my Instagram, on my socials, every bit of content, although it may look candid, it's manufactured, and,
Yeah.
and I won't hide that.
The game
Like,
is to try and do it in a way where it's like it's semi-authentic, where in that you would have done it anyways, but now you got the picture doing it. So you did set the picture up. That's how I feel about it, at least.
yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of these places that I was going to take the picture. So here's how it worked. I was in a position, I'm taking this personal branding course, and they were like, "Hey, go get pictures in these high status places." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
guess I'll do
Mm-hmm.
that." So that was my intention going into it, but it's funny because as I was going and doing that, I was having so much fun. I
Mm.
was like in that place, and I'm like, "Wow,
Uh-huh.
like this is actually like really cool that I'm
Interesting.
here."
Uh-huh.
And it's almost as if like the image itself, like it wasn't the real magic to that moment. The moment was the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was still authentically there, enjoying it, relaxing. If I was
Mm-hmm.
just like sprawling on some couch in like maybe a cool way, or like some cigar bar that we went
Yeah.
and go did. I was actually really enjoying the cigars. We were
Mm-hmm.
playing cards,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a picture of you playing cards. Like, I think a lot of people get it maybe twisted where you have to like smile and
Yeah.
like look at the camera
Uh-huh.
and like
That's the
like
last thing
like
you want to do,
smile with your
really. Yeah.
buddies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's the art of manufacturing a candid moment, which sounds like kind of twisted,
Yeah. But
but
that's it.
in
Mm-hmm.
an ideal world, I hire a photographer, videographer that can just get me without like without even thinking about it, right? That can just take the image. However, right now, it's been a really fun journey to seek out those cool places and then just snap some pictures and then put it out there and, build up this repertoire, this digital resume of like who I am, where I go. That way, when I meet someone and I maybe get their contact info, maybe we have a striking conversation and we want to keep in touch, I can give them my Instagram and then they can look at that and be like, oh, actually, I want to learn more about this guy. Like maybe this guy like is cool. Maybe he gets it. Like maybe this is a person worth like keeping in touch with. So that's kind of the whole idea of it.
Yeah, I think the thing I really want to try and talk to the audience or get them to understand is I imagine there's a lot of people out there who hear this kind of thing and they're just like, social media, that's like whatever, like lame, or it's this. And there's like a big push to like get off of social media that like in the self-improvement space. And in some ways, I think that's good. Like if you were literally just like doom scrolling on there and getting addicted to porn or something because you're just on Instagram all day or something like that, yeah, get off of it. But there's a level beyond that, I feel like, where this is such a powerful tool, and the fact that we have this friendship is just one example of it. I mean, my entire business is pretty much built off of social media at this point. And so I really want to try and explain to people and make sure they understand just how useful of a tool social media is. So for that guy out there who's like, he's in his mid-20s. He probably doesn't have any friends, or maybe he has like a couple friends, or just really anybody, and they're like kind of bored, lonely, that kind of thing. Like, why should they care about this?
Why should they care about this? Because it can open those doors. There is, there's that stigma of like social media is bad. I think it's no different than everything we've been saying, that you need to like outsmart it and outsmart yourself and take your monkey brain out of it that wants to just get these dopamine hits as a consumer and turn yourself into the producer. Now, also what I want to mention is that although we can talk about, these certain strategies and like how to form connections and how it's so good for you, I want this to be very clear. Social media is fake.
Yeah, for sure.
It's fake.
Yeah, you're putting up a certain part of yourself. It's not a complete picture.
It's just a highlight reel, right? Yeah.
And it's like, okay. I think people need to understand that. It's okay that that's how it is.
It's okay that that's fake. And I think that people who don't get that are the ones who struggle. So if you understand social media for what it is and you just accept that and surrender to it, man, your life is going to be so much better.
Surrender to social media. That's going to be the caption of this.
Surrender. Just let it go. Like, I mean, people's buttholes are just so tight. Like they're so tight. They're like, oh, AI is taking over. Like, oh my gosh. Like panic. That's all a psyop. Like that's all. That's because your algorithm is just trying to keep you on there, and they figured out that you respond to panic, paranoia, like terror. And that's your view of it, right? Versus actually, if you trick your algorithm into giving you content that actually like helps you, like improves you, betters you, and you're studying not only what the content is itself and what it's telling you, but you study how it is produced. You study the music that is with it. You study the aesthetics. You study the camera angles, and then you can develop into actually a creator by mimicking and doing that yourself, and that's what makes it super fun.
Yeah, it does become fun when you understand how to play the game, really, because now it really is. It's like and people will pretend like this stuff doesn't matter, but they still worry about like their follow to following ratio. Like they still care, even though they act like this doesn't matter, or they still, worry about like I'm not gonna watch his story because I don't want him to know, like some girl or something who's like, or guys will do that too, or I'm not gonna follow her back. Like they're playing so they know this matters on some like implicit, subconscious kind of level. They know it matters. And if you could just embrace the fakeness of it, and fake just sounds like such a bad word for it, but it really is just more like understanding like. When you go out in the world on a daily basis, if you have any common sense, you're trying to put your best foot forward. You try to dress decently well, you shave, you don't smell like shit, like all this kind of basic stuff. You're just doing that on social media. You're just
Hmm.
putting your best foot forward. What do you want people to think about you in their first impression? Like, we all understand this, and science has shown just how important a first impression is. And when you embrace that, and especially because there's just no competition because nobody's doing this,
Mm.
it becomes like really, yeah, it becomes really fun.
Hmm.
You start connecting with people, business opportunities open up. You have to get through that phase at the beginning where nothing's happening from it. Like you were talking
Mm.
about the discipline before you get to the motivation. When I started doing the social media stuff for real estate, I posted on Instagram, I think every day for 4 months before I got a lead off of it. And
Yeah.
now it's like that's just my business. It comes from there. But it's like you have to just repeat the actions over and over and over again, and then it just snowballs in your favor, and then just doors start opening up everywhere. And I remember when I was getting into real estate, I didn't really want to do social media. I had the background in it, but I was just like, I just
Sure.
like part of me was just kind of like so done with that phase because I'd done YouTube for so long. And I was just tired of it. And I was like, I put out all this damn content. I just can't
Mm.
keep doing this. And I looked at every other option basically. I was like, I can go, to networking events. I can send out mail. I can make cold calls and all this stuff. And it was just the math just didn't add up to them compared to what you can get from social media. It's
Hmm.
like I could spend $1,400 to send out a bunch of like mail to people and get no response, or I can just post on here for free and get leads. And you can reach literally everybody if your content's good enough. And
Hmm.
it just becomes this thing where it's an undeniable like force multiplier on your life. Like
Hmm.
you get access to so much if you understand how to play this game. So kind of, I guess, to like put a like pin in maybe the Instagram side of it, for the guy or girl or whoever's out there who's thinking about, okay, I want to use social media to my advantage. I want to use it to get dating opportunities, to
Hmm.
build my social life, to improve my career. What would be like one thing you would tell them to start by doing?
Mm.
So they're out there, they probably have like, maybe they got a picture of them holding a fish from 2018 on their Instagram. That's about it. That kind of guy. Like what should that person be doing?
Mm. Mm. Yeah. I would say have a plan. Create a plan for your life. So you take yourself where you are right now. Let's say you're 18, right? Whoever's listening. And you're like, okay, when I'm 25, I want to have this life. When I'm 30, I want to have this. When I'm 40, I want to have this life. And then understand who that person is that has that life. Understand what people think about who that person is. Understand how that person makes other people feel. It's really like an emotional thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most effective pieces of content out there are what spur like that heart, you just feel it. So really lean into the emotions of that like video game character, right? That you can
Mm-hmm.
customize and at every checkpoint of your life. And once you have that laid out, it's kind of easy cuz like you once you have that laid out, man, let's say you want to associate with soccer teams, right? So let's say your dream life is you're an agent for a professional soccer player and you're getting him deals, you're getting him the best contracts, whatever. Go do stuff that an agent would do. Go to the places where an agent would be. Interact with the people an agent would interact with. Do it and get a camera on you. Oh my gosh, photography is like I would say one of the most important skills in not only business but just life
At this point, yeah.
at this point
Mm-hmm.
because like man, everyone's watching.
Yeah.
Like you have to realize like everyone's watching
Mm-hmm.
your life and everyone's judging you. That's just the way the world is.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have that mapped out, man, like just get a camera on you, being in the places where this, individual would be and giving off that energy, that vibe with whatever sort of audio visual effects would be necessary to accomplish that feeling inside of someone else who sees that and might have something to benefit you with.
That's a good answer. Yeah, I was gonna just say take 9 pictures, but that's a good that's a good almost first step because you can throw up and it would benefit anybody out there who doesn't have any pictures just to go get some. But having that plan is that's so true. Like, because a lot of this stuff makes sense when you understand where you're going in life.
Hmm.
Because then it's just like, yeah, of course I'm posted. It's like, of course I go to the gym. I know who I want to be. So I'm at the gym. I get a picture at the gym or something. I'm boxing.
If
I have a
you,
videographer come do that. If I'm
yeah.
real estate, like that makes it make so much more sense when you understand, like, you need to know where you're going because that defines who you are. And then you basically just capture that occurring, that development. And then you're kind of just curating a
Hmm.
sense of who you are, basically, and expressing that on this social profile, pretty much. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, yeah. And one thing that's been on my mind a lot recently is documenting, not creating.
Okay,
So
explain.
just like instead of trying to like really like create something that doesn't need to be created and you can just document where you are, like that's just going to be so much more authentic
Mm-hmm.
than trying to manufacture something that truly doesn't align with that person you want to be. Because if I'm trying to be this like soccer player agent, like is doing like a really like fancy like car. I'm trying to think of a good example. I'm kind of blanking, but
Well, a good one for me would be,
yeah.
I don't really drink hardly at all, and
Okay,
so I
sure.
always was like, because I was in similar course to what you were as far as personal brand and all
Sure.
that, and they're like, go to these high status locations and
Yep.
capture yourself and all that, and I literally was like, well, I don't want to go to this bar with a drink because I don't drink, so it just
Gotcha.
feels off to me.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I liked when we went and worked out, we got the pictures on the roof while we
Sure.
were just working out anyways, and so we captured it because it felt so much more natural to who I am. Because
Okay.
I do that kind of stuff. I box. I'm interested in business. I'm interested in a certain lifestyle. But yeah, like going and having a drink at the bar is not my thing. So it
Hmm.
feels way off. So I think
Okay.
that's kind of what you're getting at. Of like making sure what you're doing, you're documenting what you're doing. You're not just like, I'm gonna force this thing. It's just
Hmm.
gonna organically happen out of me doing what I would do otherwise.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I feel like that's a good place to kind of transition to, you've used Instagram for, your network, and then that's kind of where I run my business, but you have past experience with LinkedIn and
Mhm.
using personal branding and social media as a recruiter, both with employers and with employees, connecting the two together. And
Mhm.
you're currently helping a mutual friend of ours with, transitioning out of a dead end job into a sales role right now. And you've been doing a great job with that, like totally transformed his image and all that kind of stuff and getting him rolling with LinkedIn. And that's kind of, the business that you're starting to build right now is in that space. You have a level of expertise in that. I guess kind of give everybody a little bit of background on your experience with the recruiting side and LinkedIn, and then kind of get into how LinkedIn is used for somebody who's looking to find a better job, because this is just a place that I have no experience with LinkedIn.
Sure.
So like, how does all that work?
Yeah, good question. So, yeah, for everyone, I am building a consultancy right now where I help guys get better jobs, get out of their dead end jobs, get into sales, high income skill, high income
Mm-hmm.
opportunity, and really just to kind of max out in all areas of life. But to kind of recap my experience in recruitment, I was a recruiter for about a year and a half with a recruitment firm. So I was just talking to people every single day. I mean, I was on the phones 8 a.m., man. We
Mm-hmm.
were cranking. It was a high call volume company
Mm-hmm.
that they had us do. And I was just talking to hundreds of thousands of people that all hated their jobs.
Uh-huh.
They were all like, I'm miserable, or like, ugh, or I just got laid off,
Mm-hmm.
or like, shoot, like I need something. Like I need to put a roof over my wife and children's head.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like people need to be employed. Like money, like you need it in order to live, right?
Right.
So if you
Yeah.
don't have a job, like and even worse, if you have a job that you like hate, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that's worse, but like it's either just as
Pretty
bad or
close.
worse,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
both
Mm-hmm.
crappy situations.
Mm-hmm.
and you're making a living off of something that's just like dumping your soul into the garbage can. It's like, what is that worth? Like you're doing yourself a disservice. And I
Mm-hmm.
just, conversation after conversation, I picked up on this that like it is a hyper competitive world we live in for
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Dude, that blew me away when I used to be looking back when I was kind of looking for an employer, like in my early 20s. I was just like, are you kidding me? Is this hard to get a damn job?
Oh my
Yeah, I was like,
gosh,
this is
it's so
ridiculous.
hard.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So you used basically you'd connect with these people, and I know you'd mentioned LinkedIn being a big element of this. So would you find these people on LinkedIn? Did you and as far as getting them jobs, was it like you would help them improve their LinkedIn, or is that just something you kind of discovered over time that was like LinkedIn was a big part in the successful employees?
Yeah, so oh man, so it was literally my full-time job to find people jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my view of things when I was coming in was, okay, I have this client that I already did the work, or maybe it was, the role was passed to me, to where I need to fill this role. And I'm sitting there in the client meeting, listening to the client, blabber or whatever about what they truly need.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you need
The
in this
client being the
candidate?
employer.
Right, it's the
Mm-hmm.
employer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm contracted with them. We
Mm-hmm.
have terms of agreement where I'm going to get paid on a portion of the salary,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And they're telling me, okay, I need this. Okay, what do I do with that? I take all my notes and then I run searches, right? So literally I'm making lists of people. I'm using LinkedIn search. I'm using booleans, for anyone in the audience who isn't familiar with
I'm not.
booleans. You're not
Mm-mm,
familiar with
no.
booleans.
Mm-mm.
So it's very like high level coding.
Okay.
So let's say I was looking for a milkman. So I would say, um, like, maybe in my search I would put a quotation and then milk quotation, and then I would put capital AND, and like, farm, and then
Mm-hmm.
and cows, right? So
So
you're
it's like a
just picking
search
up on
engine.
keywords. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
you're kind of just doing like SEO
Mm-hmm.
almost, and you're searching for these candidates that line up to all the keywords in not only like the job description that is given to me by the client, but all of the notes that I've taken as well. And
Okay.
that's just on the technical side of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's on all of the data that can be matched up with candidates and what they write in their profiles on LinkedIn, or the
Okay.
resumes that are attached, or the existing CRM that my company had, where we had a whole bank of resumes to pull from as well. So you're pulling from existing resumes that you've gotten with your recruitment firm, as well as cold like searches on LinkedIn, right? You're headhunting.
Okay.
So with that, at a just surface level, you have to have keywords on your profile that line up to this role that the client is telling me, I need this person to have these skills, right? Or
Okay.
like do this type of work and
Okay.
accomplish this sort of thing. But then there's that whole other side of it where it's like, oh, I need like this type of person,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like those softer skills. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I need a person who's like passionate, or maybe it's a coding job. So, like, maybe that's not as important. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
need a person who can like lock in for lots of hours, So, there's all of these different things. And going into my searches, I'm calling these people, talking to them, and I'm evaluating them like, okay, do I think this person's a fit for the role?
Mm-hmm.
And just after hundreds of thousands of times of doing that, I then, I guess, grew this sort of skill and understanding of how important it is to come across both on the technical side of things, having the keywords, having a good profile, and then also the softer skills. So like maybe I mean, I would consider this one of those like other softer skills is like the professional headshot.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I saw someone who just had like a selfie in a dark room, or like they looked like drunk and had like
Yeah.
sunglasses on,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not taking that candidate like as
Seriously,
seriously
right.
as a different one.
Yeah.
And it's like these little things, like they compound, they add up,
Mm-hmm.
and they are a part of like who you are on paper. And you need to have something good on paper for me to
Mm-hmm.
even hit the dial button.
Gotcha.
for the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm working contracted by the client. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like my opinion of it, even though I'm external, is just as valuable as their opinion of you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, just doing that so many times, I learned and I grew an appreciation for the small details in someone's profile and how they come across that are so important to bringing you above the competition and landing that role.
So it sounds like LinkedIn is kind of like it's like basically any other social media in that you want to have a target market that you're trying to attract with your profile, and then you're using the keywords and these, softer skills and maybe the content you produce or something like that basically to target that thing. And in this case, it's more of a business context. So if like you were looking for sales roles, you would set your profile up in such a way that it had the right terms in it that somebody who was looking for a high paid salesperson is going to look for. You're going to maybe have the articles that you're posting related to that. You're going to have the certain softer skills and things like that shared there. And you're creating this personal brand for your career, your profession,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically just designed to attract people the same way that in mine, I'm trying to attract, real estate clients in the Lake Norman area, right? And so I set everything up around talking to that specific person. Is that pretty much how it works?
I would say so. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
Got
just
it.
like we were speaking about earlier with Instagram, it's like you do have a target market
Mm-hmm.
of, if you're back on that example, if you're like a sports agent, you want all the sports fans to be following you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like
Mm-hmm.
if you want a sales role, you want to be connected with all the people who are hiring for sales roles and you want them to like resonate and relate. I'm glad you mentioned like sharing articles
Mm-hmm.
that one would like I shared one. I saw a really funny one. It was a comparison picture. It was a rotisserie chicken, right? So there's two rotisserie chickens.
Okay.
There's one that it says cooked for 1 hour at 900 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's
Mm-hmm.
scorching. It's the
Mm-hmm.
color of these microphones, the color of your shirt.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The other one says cooked for 3 hours at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And oh my
Looks
gosh,
good.
dude, I'm
Mm-hmm.
watering,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
drooling from my mouth, right?
Uh-huh.
And it says, the caption says, like, sales isn't a pressure cooker.
Mm.
And I'm like, you know what? Like, I really like, the visual and just the terminology. I really like this.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm in sales. So, like, this is something that I appreciate. And I'm going to repost it because I think that my following would also appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not actively looking for a job, it's still building up a case for I don't know how long I'm going to spend at my company.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even on the personal side, I'm building my own company. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's about like getting sales roles. So it's like it all contributes to like who I am, what I want to do, what my business niche is,
Mm-hmm.
and it's bringing that to my target market.
Yeah, so I mean, it's basically like any other social platform. Then I mean, you're putting out compelling content for the target market, and then the target market just happens to be either you're looking for employees, you're looking for, well, in your case, maybe clients, or you're looking for a job. But it's the same kind of game that you'd play, I guess, on any other social platform. I just LinkedIn has been a hard one for me because I don't know why it's just never clicked in my head how this works exactly, but it really is. It's very similar to, I guess, anything else. Would you say, would somebody have a better chance finding a good job by dedicating time to making their LinkedIn really compelling and creating content, or if they just went on Indeed and just blasted applications all day?
I don't know if this is a trick question, but it depends. I hate saying
Okay,
that.
okay.
I hate
So
saying
Indeed
that.
does have a use.
Indeed has a use. LinkedIn is more prestigious.
Okay.
Indeed is for the lower salaried roles.
Right.
If you're a handyman, if you don't have a college degree,
Mm-hmm.
stay on Indeed. Like,
Okay.
you don't need to do the LinkedIn.
Okay.
My target market happens to be in like the people that I want to help.
Mm-hmm.
I think, just having a bachelor's is going to be almost a minimum requirement.
Okay.
I'm just going to say right now that's a minimum requirement. And that's what you're going to see more on LinkedIn.
So it's more
Very
the
white
white collar
collar.
position.
Very white collar. If you're blue collar, you can have a LinkedIn. I don't think they're going to care though. Like, it's a
Right.
different
Yeah, it's
game
a different
entirely.
game. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, LinkedIn's much more like corporate, white collar, those financial services, like
Yeah.
insurance, all these banking, like just all these different industries that
Mhm.
are not necessarily like having a handyman on the job.
Right. Yeah. No offense to handymen, we love handymen,
No,
but
oh my
yeah,
gosh. I mean, hey, we need a handyman.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just not. Yeah, no, I totally get that because blue collar is very much, and I like most blue collar workers. They're very honest people usually, but like, yeah, it's very like you know a guy and you get on the roll with the team, and nobody's really using social media like that. You know, it's like your
sure.
employer isn't either. But yeah, in the white collar world, it's seems like it's big, and so if you're wanting to move, you know, if you're a guy out there and you're wanting to move from some sort of dead end job. It seems like, I mean, based on what you've been helping our friend Danny with, seems like LinkedIn is the thing that you want to really focus on if you want to transition out of a dead end job into something more high paying. Is that right?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Indeed is good to start. Indeed is great when you're like pursuing your degree and you're trying to get
Mm-hmm.
maybe something part-time. Um, or just, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I have
Did
anything
I
else
say
on
Indeed
that.
or LinkedIn? I might have said Indeed. I meant LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's what you should focus on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
LinkedIn's what you
yeah.
should focus
LinkedIn's
on.
if what you should focus on if you want to get into like a sales role, business development, all
Okay.
that stuff.
And what does
Um,
focusing on LinkedIn look like? How does this actually, like, if somebody were to go from right now, they're working, I don't know, as a waiter, they got a 4 year degree, but they haven't found a good job, and now they want to get into something, they're just kind of have some job to like, just pay their bills basically, and they don't really have much of a LinkedIn going on right now. What is that process of going from that person to employed with some job they're happy with that's paying them something that they can live a good
mhm.
life off of? How does that, what does that process even look like?
Yeah, you got to reverse engineer it. So you
Okay.
got to identify first like what you want, and
Mm-hmm.
then like save a bunch of jobs, and then look at it and be like, okay, let's see, they need these skills, okay, and then you have to like take the introspective like thought and go like, okay, what about my profile actually like equates? Like if I'm a waiter, like I'm speaking with people constantly, like
Mm-hmm.
communication. That's going
Mm-hmm.
to be one of my key skills, like
Mm-hmm.
just brandished on the top of my page. Customer
Mm-hmm.
service,
Mm-hmm.
communication. These things are transferable. And what's really been fun about working with, our mutual friend is that I'm sitting with him, we're crafting his resume and we have this target in mind and we're talking about who he is, and it's almost like he didn't fully understand like how brilliant he was and all of these skills
Mm-hmm.
that he truly had,
Mm-hmm.
that I just had to ask him, a few questions, and then he's riffing, just telling me, oh no, I'm using this software, it's like this large of a space, like give me all these quantitative numbers and qualitative attributes about what he's doing and who he's helping and how he's actually like making the world a better place, and just like focusing on that brilliance and like intellect and all of the skills that come with daily tasks, and then making that as best as you can. And please, 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 please do not lie on your resume
Mm-hmm.
for whoever's listening. Like, you can't get away with that. Like, people
Mm-hmm.
will pick up on it. Like, it will come back to you. So be ethical, but reverse engineer it to answer your question. Identify what it is you want, and then take who you are, maximize it, get a really good professional headshot with some good lighting. I mean, that's a whole other course on its own,
Mm-hmm.
but getting all of these things into check and then building up your brand to with words, and you can use AI to help you. Like you can use chat and like,
Mm-hmm.
hey chat, give me like maybe like 20 different like skill sets that I would get in this role where I'm doing yada yada yada, right? Like you can use all these different tools, but you need these things in writing, and you need to be meticulous with the quantitative and qualitative attributes, and then you need to match that up with what the role is you're trying to attain, and then stay along that narrative throughout your interviews. Like you need to be able to make that connection flawlessly because you've looked at your resume and you've looked at that job that you want hundreds of times to where you
Okay.
can seamlessly form that connection and you're sharp. And if you show some intent and some true grit, like people will give you a sales role.
Yeah.
Like it's different if for like coding, like you need to have
Right. You need the
specific
skill.
length,
Mm-hmm.
like you have to have Python down or Java. Like that's different, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about is sales. Like you
Yeah.
just need to show intent and you'll get it. Like it'll happen.
So you're basically to, I guess, make it more concrete for everybody's actions. So
Sure.
they need to know what profession they're going after,
Yep.
and then think about what the person who's going to pay them for that is looking for, and then figure out how they can be that. Basically, is what it is. It's almost like
Yeah,
a
you make
game
it
of.
sound super simple. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
it
It is
is.
simple. And like I know I
Yeah.
was kind of like talking a lot
No,
about
that's
it
good. Yeah.
because
Uh huh.
I'm almost obsessive in it
Uh
because I
huh.
spent so much time in the trenches
Uh huh.
about it and I got
Yeah.
so many no's from clients, but it truly is simple. Like
Hmm.
just be the person on paper that these clients want to hire, that these companies want to hire.
It's so simple, yet so many people don't do it because they're too busy. And this really goes for anything. It goes for dating. It goes for friendships. It
True.
goes for everything. Like they're too busy thinking about what the other person should be doing for them.
Mm,
And so, like, they'll be in dating and they'll be like, oh, these people should love me for me. Like that bullshit that people say.
okay.
And it's like, you're out of shape and live with your parents. It's like, they're not going to love you for you, bro. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're not thinking about what the girl would want.
Mhm.
Or women will talk about some guy didn't want to like wife her up. It's like, well, do you have the qualities that he's looking for in a wife? Or if people do this with friends, I can't find any friends. It's like, well, would anybody want to be your friend? And it's the same thing with, a job. Like like people, I hate the word should, like should
Yeah.
statements and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like people will, they'll say like, jobs should pay better. I should get this kind of job and things like that. And it's just like they're also like self-centered. They're not thinking about like what does the employer need? What does the client need? What does this partner I'm looking for need? What are people who would want to be my friend? What would they be looking for in a friend, right? And then once you do that and you have that, awareness, you can just reverse engineer yourself into the kind of person who naturally gets what they want. Because it's like you said, it's really not that complicated. It's like, okay, what would somebody want in a sales role? And then I loved what you said about like people don't realize they have skills. And so you have to like get it out of them. They'll be like, I haven't done it. Dude, I fall victim to this. Sometimes I'll look back and be like, have I done anything with my life? I'll just be like wondering and stuff. And then you realize it's like, oh no, I've done a few things. And it's like, yeah, people don't realize that. And so, if you're doing a sales role, it's like you've talked to people in some capacity, I'm sure. All right, go put that, there's communication skills, or, go get whatever, soft skills it is, whatever experiences you need, but just ask yourself, what would that person be wanting? And then you can do it pretty easily. What would they want to see in a headshot? I know you mentioned, I wanted to ask you about this, for Danny. You had him doing the Navy blazer. You told him
Mm,
go get a tailored Navy blazer
hmm.
for his profile picture. Why do you think a blazer in the profile picture is so important?
It's so important because I mean, it's culturally important. So
Mm-hmm.
if we were somewhere like the Middle East, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's not a
Different.
blazer,
Yeah.
it's just whatever they wear.
Yeah. Right.
So you just have to like, I mean, look at the types of people that are, again, I go right into it. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I take yourself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not about you.
Yeah.
Look at the people who want to hire someone. What are they looking for? They're looking for someone who is professional. Dude, hundreds of years, like a tie and a jacket has been just culturally, at least in the States, like has been,
Yeah.
the
The
meta,
thing.
I
Right.
guess,
Mm-hmm.
the formal attire. Like what do you wear to a wedding? What do you wear to a funeral? Like you are dressing to impress, you're looking your best.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an element of that and making sure you're taking care of that image. And if you can manipulate it, do it.
Yeah.
Like why not?
It's really just like you're gonna be like, if I'm gonna do this thing, I might as well do it right, basically. So if I'm gonna have a profile picture, I might as well have a blazer on for it because that gives me the best chance.
Yeah,
Sounds
and like
like.
navy
Mhm.
blue is like the basic, it's
Okay.
like the standard. It's like,
Hmm.
I mean, it doesn't have to be navy blue. Like maybe just your style is more like black. Like I know you wear a lot of black. You're wearing
Hmm.
black right now.
Hmm.
Maybe your thing is more like a black button down and a black jacket on top, but
Hmm.
that can look sharp. It's just about how you wear it. And I'm actually like kind of into fashion, and nothing is gonna look better on you than what makes you feel good
Hmm.
about you. It makes you like really just authentically, this is me. Like I love this.
Hmm.
And yeah, but yeah, navy blue is just a standard.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So to, I guess, put a pin in that topic then is, if you're somebody out there and you're looking to transition into a better career path for yourself, you have to basically just drop your ego and ask yourself almost like, would I hire me? You know, and
Mm.
then go back and clean those pieces up, and then get on LinkedIn. And if you're looking for an employer, that is, if you're looking to get an employer, then you would go on LinkedIn. You want to craft is it the bio? Is it like, do they have like a skill section or something like that where you would put these like tags in? Like where does that go on a profile?
Yeah, so there are multiple sections with skills.
Okay.
For your bio, you can write like a little description, and then you can pick like I think it's like 5 skills that are like your top skills.
Okay.
There's like a diamond or something right next to it.
Okay.
And then you can also in each job like experience, you can throw in like all the skills that you had there.
Okay.
And like when you're using a version of LinkedIn called LinkedIn Recruiter, which is what I had used, you can actually run searches almost like your e-commerce, like Amazon shopping, like with
For
all the filters
employees.
and stuff,
Okay.
like employees that have these tagged like skills like communication, and then you like have a search of all these people that have that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And then you would set all that up, and then from there you want to obviously connect with people. And do you reach out to people? How does the process of like, so you've done this stuff, you've got the profile looking good. What does it look like to actually get a job from this? Are you outreaching to people? Are you putting that thing on your bio or your profile picture that says looking for work or whatever? Like, yeah, is it looking for work or I'm hired? You know, they have
Open
those open
hashtag open to work.
Yeah,
No,
no,
don't do that.
don't do that at all.
No, no,
That
no.
looks desperate, right?
It looks yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like, oh my gosh, I can't get a job. Like,
Yeah.
fudge. Like, no, screw that. Like, just throw a good picture up
So
there.
put a good picture
Yeah.
up. You got the skills on there. You're connecting with people, and I assume you're doing that in kind of a calculated way. You're looking for the people who might either be employees or networking partners who could help you find a job. Is that it?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
LinkedIn actually does a really good job of, ouch, I just banged my heel. I have some blisters right there that just reopened because I was playing soccer the other day with my new cleats. Anyway, let's cut that. But can you say the question again?
Yeah, so
Zoned
like
out.
you're needing to connect with people on LinkedIn, obviously, so you can get these opportunities here. Are you connecting with potential employers? Are you connecting with people who maybe could give you a job? Is it really anybody? Like, how are we thinking about connections?
Yeah. All right. So what I was saying is LinkedIn does a great job of auto-suggesting, like any other social media app, auto-suggesting who you should connect with. And there's like these sections. It's like connect with this person from your company, connect with this person who went to your college, connect with this person who also follows this page, right? You know, things like that. So I would say just spam that, you know, just connect. There's this stigma out there that like, oh, I'm not going to connect with people I don't know. Like, get over that. Like,
Okay.
for anyone listening, like, that's useless. Throw that in the garbage. Like, it's literally LinkedIn. Like, it's not like, I mean, Instagram, maybe it'll be a little bit more picky because that's like your personal brand. But like in a corporate sense, if you're getting into sales, like there is no ratio on LinkedIn of following to followers.
Right.
You have to kind of have that element in control in your Instagram because it looks whack if you're following 5,000 people
Yeah.
and you have 500 followers.
Right.
On LinkedIn, all it is connections. So all they have to do is accept your connection request. If they deny it, you don't lose anything.
Yeah, they're gonna forget you existed 7 seconds later.
Right. Yeah. And then you can just like, you know, build up all of those connections. Like our mutual friend who I'm working with, he had 0 to start. I mean, he connected with like you and I, and then now he's got over 100. I'm sure he's making his way to 150 right now.
Yeah, he told me he was trying to get to 200 by the end of by the next couple days.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes.
What's a sweet spot number for like, okay, you've got enough connections to like make this get some traction at least?
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe a vanity thing, but like once you hit 300, it goes like 300 plus, and then once you hit 500, it says 500 plus. Like you want to get to that 500 plus.
Okay.
Like you want to have like that. I know.
Just so it looks like you're somebody.
I
It's
know.
vanity.
Yeah,
it's the same as
vanity,
Instagram
but
for
like
faking
just
it,
accept
right?
it. Like just get over yourself, and it's so easy to get. Like you can get that in a few months by just connecting with random people. But to answer your original question, what's the approach? Who are you going to connect with? Okay, so we save, let's say, 50 jobs. go to that job, try to figure out who the hiring manager is, click on the company, like click on the employees, click on the manager of business development, for example, and just connect with that person. You
Okay.
know, like what happens from that? Oh, this Fred guy just accepted my connection request. He's the manager of business development and he's hiring for a business development rep.
Mm-hmm.
Let me apply to that role and then shoot him a message, or shoot him a message and apply to that role. Like, it's different opportunities to put your profile ahead. And like, there is something to say about getting a role through the back door.
Explain.
There's gonna be, let's say, for sake of round numbers, let's say there's 50 applicants to a role.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say like 30 of them came from LinkedIn. Let's say 10 of them were internal referrals, and let's say 10 of them like new people at the company.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that 50, 30 plus 10 plus 10?
Yeah, you got it. Uh-huh.
Okay, it's been a while since my math days, but right. So the candidates that are referrals from internal of the company, or candidates that like knew someone and had that, going for them, they are going to be taken more seriously than the candidates who did not reach out to the people at the company or have those connections are going to be. Like, the power of a referral is so, so strong. And this is why I implore you to also do the Instagram stuff, because this works in unison in your professional world. People will give you an opportunity if they like you.
Yeah.
Like, if your reputation is just so clean and you have such a good record with people, like, it will come back to you, man. Like, I swear, this is so important to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And this is day-to-day actions. This is how you carry yourself. This is ethics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so much bigger. But to go back to the point, you should be focusing on hiring managers, talent acquisition,
Keep going.
and HR, and just people in that company, and also people who share associations with yourself. So people who went to your university, people who follow the same page as you, people who have the same interests, other salespeople in your industry. So just forming all those connections, yeah.
Okay, so we're connecting with the hiring managers and the people, and I love what you said there. Like, I mean, you need to be connecting with the people inside the company, building actual relationships, because that's going to be such an advantage when it comes to these jobs, as opposed to just like slapping a resume up there with every other person who wants this job.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this study one time. It said that 80% of jobs are filled without a job application ever even being posted.
I believe it.
Because the people just are like, hey, I need this guy to do this thing, and this is my friend, so like I'll have him do it. You know what I mean? And so it just makes sense, because I do that. Like with Keefe, who's our friend. I needed photos done, and I just knew he wanted to do pictures, and so like, of who am I gonna call? The guy I know, the guy I trust, right? It's like, it just makes sense. And so you really, that's the game with LinkedIn, with, I guess, I assume, putting out the content, and then, trying to build the relationships, and then talking to all the people. And like, you're basically just getting out there all the time, it sounds like, with all this stuff. You're just trying to keep your name top of mind. Very, very similar to what I do with the real estate stuff. I'm just trying to have people think, when they think real estate, they think of my name. That's basically what you're trying to get done here, it seems like.
Yeah.
And so how does this turn into a job? So you've got the connections. Are you going on and applying for a job? Are you posting content and somebody's like, this guy gets it, and they're looking for you to hire you? Are you apply for the job, and then you've got this connection at that company, you're like, hey, can you put a word in for me? How does all that work?
So you have to apply.
Okay.
You got to throw your resume in front of their face. What I actually did to get my job in recruitment was, and this is a good story, I feel like this might be a good example to answer your question.
Mm-hmm.
I was considering cities, so I went to USC, South Carolina, go Cox.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in Columbia, South Carolina, and I was in this internship at this engineering company, manufacturer, and I was like, this is cool, like this is a great experience, but I don't see myself here when I graduate. I see myself in more of like a city. Like, I'll always know this as my college town. So I'm looking at different cities, and then Charlotte, just like, I don't know, I Google Earthed it, and I was like, dude, this city seems sick. Like, let me look at roles in this city. So I did my own search on LinkedIn. I looked up some stuff, and then I saw a role with this company. The role was like quality engineer because I was a quality intern. I was like, ooh, like this kind of sounds like me, and it says it's in Charlotte.
Hmm.
So I was like, maybe this is my next job. And then I looked at who posted the role, and I looked on his profile, and I saw that he went to South Carolina as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I
Hmm.
connected with him. I messaged him and I said, "Hey, fellow Gamecock." And I also saw he was in a fraternity, and he was the social chair of a fraternity. I was in Greek life at South Carolina, so we already had these similarities, right?
Hmm.
And I messaged him, was like, "Hey, I would love to learn more about this role. I saw you were the job poster. Like, would you by any chance be able to share more? And could we maybe set up a call? Like, I'd love to learn more." He's like, "Yeah, of course, let's do it." And then through that messaging, I kind of reframed it, and I was like, "Wait, like I see that you're recruiting for the role, and then like you're working with like a recruitment firm. Like,
Hmm.
wait, I might actually like be interested in what you do."
Okay.
And then I had a call with him, and he was like, "Shoot me your resume."
Hmm.
My resume goes to the top of the list. Next thing I know, I'm in an interview,
Yeah.
like doing the role
Right.
play, like
Hmm.
for the role.
Hmm.
So it's like just forming that connection with someone who had some similarities to me that I just noticed. I paid attention and I saw that.
Yeah.
That got me in the door rather than just a plain old application. Who knows if I would have gotten that role.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it was just the advantage of knowing that. Dude, that goes back to what we were talking about at the very beginning with us connecting. It was like similarities. This person's like, oh, this guy probably gets it, or this guy seems cool or something. Then we, see something we have in common, relationship is formed. This is just like human nature 101, basically. And it's just like doing it online instead of trying to do it in person, which I mean, yeah, you want to do it in person too, but also doing it online so that you open up these doors for yourself. Because that's just a totally normal interaction. It's like, oh, cool. Like we went to the same college. We have this thing in common. It's just immediate rapport is built.
Hmm.
And the only way you can do
And we didn't
that,
say anything.
yeah.
Like we just had two profiles,
Uh
right?
huh.
Digitally.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, it's just you have to put yourself out there. That's
Yeah.
almost like the big meta of this conversation so far. It's like, put yourself out
Hmm.
there and good shit can happen. But if you're just going to sit on the couch, doom scrolling and wishing the world would just come to your door, it's not. You have to go out there and produce. Producers are going to win in everything, you know?
Hmm.
That's such a, yeah, that's a good, I think that's a good lesson for people. I hope they take that seriously. So I guess, that I feel like that's some really good value on that subject. So the next thing I really wanted to talk to you about was like a big left turn, but into, you recently got baptized.
Yeah.
And I know
Praise
that
be to
this has
God.
been, yeah, no, that's awesome. Congrats on that. And
Thank you.
like, I've noticed it seems like so many more people coming to Christ recently. It seems like it's kind of like the atheism trend in America seems like it's dying off because everyone's realizing atheism's kind of ridiculous, maybe, or just like it just seems like so many people I talk to now are like going through this period of like, maybe they haven't gotten baptized yet, or maybe they've been baptized in the past and they're looking to go back into the church. That's kind of where I am, I guess you could say. But like, it seems like so many people are going through this. Why do you think there is this kind of revival going on? Where would you say there's a revival, I guess, is a first question. And then if so, why do you think it's going on? And then maybe elaborate on what your experience was with coming to Christ.
Hmm. Certainly a revival going on. I looked at it. I think it was like Bible sales are up 22%.
No way.
I think that might have been like 2023 to 2024.
Yeah.
And I think just to like really zoom out, right, and look
Mm-hmm.
at the global population, look at culture, Western
Mm-hmm.
civilization. Western civilization for a few years there was getting very twisted, right?
Yeah.
And it still is.
Yeah.
Still is quite
Uh-huh.
twisted.
Uh-huh.
And we had this era of like SoundCloud rap, right? So a lot of attention was going to vices, and like I think a lot of culture right now in Western civilization is centered around hedonism.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so when you take a look at that, and you embody like what these rappers are telling you,
Mm-hmm.
and you truly live that like hedonistic lifestyle, it doesn't work out, man. Like I
Mm-hmm.
guess this is my personal experience. Like I was just, getting into these horrible thought patterns and just questioning, and I'm like, okay, who do I listen to? Like, who is the authority? Because clearly,
Mm-hmm.
what culture is driving,
Mm-hmm.
it's not working out for me. Like, I feel like shit. Like, they're telling me that drugs are so much fun and I'm smoking all this weed, but like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a horrible person. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing anything with my life. And it's like, you're, at a cultural spot where you're questioning, who to listen to. And I think that questioning in recent years has really come up, especially after COVID, dude. Like, all of this, we're in a trust recession right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, like, no one trusts anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And people are coming to Christ because they are coming to realize that Jesus Christ is the authority.
Mm-hmm.
God is everything, God
Mm-hmm.
is love.
Mm-hmm.
And when I follow Jesus and I truly embody and have faith in who Jesus was and who he said he was and everything that he stood for, and by the way, confirmed was true in all of the prophecies of the
Mm-hmm.
Old Testament,
Mm-hmm.
is the Savior, right? Once you like actually have faith there, you are liberated, right? Your chains are broken free from sin and you are now living a completely different life. And the minute I got out of that water, man, it was just I just felt the Holy Spirit, man. And it is so I am so and this is like all God's. This is to no work of my own. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
all God's work. This is all him choosing me by his grace, and through my faith I am where I am now, and I am in a position to where I'm able to share on this podcast my faith. And this is a huge part of the Christian ideology, is to create more disciples of Christ and to spread the message of just the pure love that you can receive from Jesus Christ and what he has
Mm-hmm.
done for you by dying on the cross. So, I'm at this position where I personally culturally was looking, oh my gosh, this is not working. Like I need to switch it up. I need to drop these vices. Like how am I going to do it? What's the vehicle? What's the authority? It did, what I will say, it did take a catastrophic event in my life to actually accept it, because
What
I
was
was
that?
I was trying. So, I've told you this before. My Krav Maga coach,
Oh, okay.
his
Uh-huh.
name is Molotov Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
He passed
Mm-hmm.
in July. This was after a year of training Krav Maga with him. My first fight coach, I was very close with him. He was very open about his
This is
faith.
2024.
2024.
Mm-hmm.
He passed in July, a horrible death. And in that moment, I was shattered, like completely wrecked,
He was like a
devastated.
mentor to you, right? Mm-hmm.
I literally was on the phone with my father, bawling my eyes out outside of the
Really?
police station,
Huh.
saying he was like another dad to me.
Huh.
Like he was just such a prominent figure in my life for that point, because I was like, my first step into adulthood, manhood, right? And he was just like that role model for me that I was with like more than 4 days a week, pretty much. And for him to pass, I was like, God, like what is this? What happened? Like what's going on? Why am I suffering? What is this all for? I'm asking all these existential questions, and it took that like crazy life altering moment for me to then confront myself. And what happened was his celebration of life was in September. One of the students that used to go there flew in from Dallas, stayed with me. He stayed with me. We go to the celebration of life Saturday. Sunday comes around,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, "Hey, let's go to Life Church." And I was thinking to myself, you know what? Actually, I've heard good things about that place, because one of my really good friends from college, she goes there. She's doing great. She seems really happy. She's got a bunch of friends that she's introduced me to from this church.
Mm-hmm.
And then like there were also some members of that church at the Krav Maga gym. And then like my coach was like a Christian and wasn't ashamed of that. You know what? Sure. Yeah. Like this makes sense. Right. And for context, I grew up in the church, so like this wasn't like completely stranger to me. Like I had some basic understanding of the faith and everything. So I go, and then during the sermon, just this and the worship just crashing over me, crashing like grief, dude. But at the same time, it was this like weird clarity. And I realized in that moment that I needed Jesus, that I am imperfect, that I need him. And we are all like sheep, like we are all brothers and sisters of Christ. Like God has a plan for each and every one of us. And it was just so easy to continue going to the next. And this church, for reference, is not a Catholic church. It is non-denominational, but pretty much Baptist. And so a strong focus is on actually like focusing on the Bible instead of, when you have these like heavy like tradition sort of churches, the Greek Orthodox Church or the Catholic Church. It's very, very much close to like the actions of it, like the kneeling, the saying the Nicene Creed, which is like affirming your belief in Jesus Christ, doing all those traditions that the early church came out with. But this church, it's like it's focusing on the heart, like the internal, and that's what's done it for me personally. Like my relationship with Christ is, I'm not ashamed of it. Clearly, I'm speaking here, and thank you for asking me the question.
Sure,
happy to speak about this. But I've truly, God's working OT on my heart, man. Like I like. It's just so cool to see, all the wonderful things that he's put in my life, and I can't do anything but say thank you and have gratitude. So it's been an amazing journey, and thank you for listening to a little version of my testimony there.
No, that's great. So you tried the classic hedonistic route, and in there you just figured out there was nothing there for you, and by, I guess, fortuitous, even though unfortunate circumstances, it led you back to a different option, I guess. Is that pretty much what happened?
I would say, yeah. That hedonism stuff, like, and obviously each and every one of us, we're all flawed, man. Like the best churches out there are like hospitals. Like we're all in an emergency room. We all have a freaking knife sticking out of our leg. We're like throwing up blood. It's hurt people, like people who have had horrible things happen to them and are damaged, flawed, and we're there, like to be treated, right? Like we're there to get healing. Those are the best types of churches, and unfortunately, in my past, there was like this like works-based salvation mentality that I had. Unfortunately, like obviously I grew up in like a loving home, God-fearing home. It was there. But my standing before God, I, for some reason, was thinking that whatever I did and all of my actions, regardless of my faith in him, like detract from his love for me. But that is like the opposite of true. Like he loves me regardless of what I do, and just like fully embodying that and understanding that is so liberating. It's like I can mess up. That frees you from the shackles of sin, because some people, when they mess up, they just like sit in that, and it drives them to just implode and wallow in the guilt and the shame. And it's like, just get over it, I hate to say it this way, but it's almost like just do the sin and then move on. Like just focus on
that's it.
The good things.
Yeah.
Like okay, I think in some part of scripture, and I'm super new, like to like actually pulling out stuff from the Bible, but there's something that it's like, it's about like adultery, and it's like in your heart, if you even think about like being with that woman and you have a wife, that's just as bad.
Yeah, it's
right?
in the Sermon on the Mount. He's talking about, if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. And then if it's like it says in the Bible, like to, or the Old Testament, it says to, if you've committed adultery, this way, but he said, I tell you, that person who commits adultery in their mind has already done it. I'm botching the shit out of that,
right.
but like I
know.
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, roast us in the comments, please.
Yeah. Yeah, for
But
real.
but yeah, but if it's in your heart, man, you've already done it. So
Mhm.
like just get over yourself and just continue surging forward
Mhm.
and share, just honoring, worshiping God and doing the things on this earth that are helping store things up in heaven for you to like truly appreciate like everything that God is doing for you, like for eternity. Because like we're spiritual beings, we live forever.
Mhm.
Through faith, you get to heaven. Your body dies. All this worldly stuff goes away. The world is super, super, super temporary. But like man, when you're in heaven, that's forever.
Mhm.
So like that's definitely something that I've been really trying to like understand, and I've been really chewing on this a lot recently. And man, we just get so caught up in these worldly things, and like we want to like accomplish so much, do all these things, but like none of it matters if you are like in your heart just completely denying like what the Holy Spirit is doing for you in terms of showing you what's possible and how many like gifts you have and what you can actually contribute to this world and bring people into God's presence. And that is so much more valuable than anything, man.
Conor Mangan, appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
Thank you, man.
So where can people find you from here? Where do you want people to go if they want to connect with you more?
Yeah, Instagram, it's Conor Mangan, ConorMangann, and then look me up on LinkedIn, Conor Mangan, Charlotte, just check me out there. Also YouTube, Conor Mangan _. You can find me on TikTok as well, Conor Mangan. I mean, you'll
Yeah.
link everything
For sure.
anyways, but no, it's been a pleasure, man. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Awesome, bro.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
man.